We're sitting here with Colt Hudson to my right and Dan Giroga changing his shirt, and we're about, a little too much information, we're about to start our Batman the Animated Series audiocast here on the Comicasters live stream YouTube channel. So if you're listening to this, buckle your seatbelt because this is going to be a good one, folks. Potentially, it's a huge house here. Nobody is guarding these people coming in, so we'll probably have the fire marshal coming in. So we won't tell anyone if you won't. And we're about to get started, so enjoy. Grab some popcorn and enjoy this. We're about to get started as soon as Dan comes back here.
Let's do a snap.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right, last panel for the con. What do you think? Batman
Animated Series.
That's right. Pumped,
Right
packed
now.
house.
All right, as Dan gets settled, I just want to let you guys know my name is MC Brown. I'm representing the Comicasters, and we're on all forms of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/Comicasters. And we're introducing, just for the show here, we're broadcasting live from the YouTube channel, Comicasters, where right now we have potential listeners that could listen in if they go to YouTube as well. So we want to thank you all for joining us, and we got a little bit of a special treat here in a second.
It's a minute long. We'll get going. Filming. Who doesn't love that name, right? I've got a lot on pathology and villains. I think it'll be good.
Thank you, Colt,
Glorious years.
for the wonderful theme. And we're here again. My name's MC Brown. I'm hosting this panel along with my esteemed co-host here, representing Comicasters as well. And I'll just take it away to Dan. Introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Dan Kiroga. I'm a former online journalist with Comic Book Therapy, covering all different aspects of the geek entertainment world. Mostly I've covered different shows such as The Walking Dead, Supernatural, anything DC, Marvel, Star Wars and the like, and I'm just happy to be with these guys, bringing in 25 years of Batman the Animated Series.
All right. Colt.
Hi, I'm Colt. I work as a therapist, but what I'm here for today is I've done tons of research in the scientific community. I'm looking at what makes a good comic, what makes a good hero, what makes a good villain, what's the psychopathology behind a good villain. So with Batman Animated Series, there's a great rogues gallery, right? And so we're going to kind of look at some of the pathology behind the villains and how that kind of made it such a great series that it is today.
Yeah, so we welcome all you guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Batman Animated Series, near and dear to our hearts. 25 years, how do you not look back and say this is the benchmark for all of Batman series? Everything's weighed against this series. This is fantastic writing. Bruce Timm and just Paul Dini and also involved. You created one of the greatest characters in the DC universe that has spawned loved all over in Harley Quinn. So it's just, it gives goosebumps just talking about it because of just watching an episode so many times and going over, favorites. Sometimes hard to do, but I know we all have ours. We're going to be discussing that and stuff. And just, a lot of our panels here, all of us here, when we've done enough of them over the weekend, we're very fan interactive. So we want to hear from you guys as well. And just get your favorite moments from the series or your favorite episode. And we'll just open it up to you guys. Man, what was your favorite moment from the series? Don't be shy. Go ahead.
I don't remember what the episode was called, but I liked the one where he frees all those little kids that were held captive
Yes.
by the dude with crocodiles.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And back, left.
The infamous villain card game where
Yes. Almost got him.
Yeah, definitely. Back, Penguin.
Anything with a penguin in it.
All right, definitely.
Glad to have you, Oswald.
Riddler, go ahead. Or R.
I was a fan of like campy things, so one of my favorite episodes was just the one. It was so cheesy and cute when he was kind of unconscious on that little boy's bed
Yeah.
the whole day, and then they were trying to, which also had penguins in it.
Yeah.
But I love that one. So.
Another good one, definitely. Yes, Mr. Freeze episode, yes, yeah.
Good one.
Very tragic episode, yeah.
Along
Definitely.
with going along the lines of the penguin, what about blind as a bat?
We've got a lot of them, we'll try to work back here. You go ahead.
I liked Batman on Trial just because of the aspect it really made you think, like, did Batman create the villains or did the villains
good.
create Batman?
Exactly.
So I thought that was really a big sticker point for that.
Psychology of it for sure, yeah. All the way left, yeah, you right there with the, go ahead.
The Demon's Quest part 1 and 2.
Yes, definitely.
You?
Oh,
I like the one where the Batman Superman movie where they both find out each
Yeah.
other's identities through different means.
Oh, World's Finest.
yeah,
Great.
yeah. I love the one where he, Superman had to pose as him too. In the later series, I love that, just the Robin's reaction to it.
Oh, the one with, where Brainiac had taken control of Deuce?
Yes, yeah,
That was
yeah.
good.
Harley Quinn, go ahead.
Joker's favorite, the first Harley Quinn episode.
Yeah. How could you not love it? Yeah, definitely. Right there in the bow.
My favorite is actually the Batman and the Phantasm movie.
Mask of the Phantasm, yeah.
My favorite Mask of the
Yeah.
Phantasm was my first real introduction to Batman.
Awesome.
Series.
Very cool. Right here in the glasses.
Yeah, I love Grey Ghost because every time I watch it, like how Bruce Wayne feels about Grey Ghost is how I felt every time I watched it.
How cool is it to have Adam West too? Voice the Grey Ghost. Yeah, it's just very cool. Yes, definitely. Right there, the beard. Yeah. Yeah, it's old moves, is that right? Yeah, yes. Go ahead, right here.
Brother Eye, where they had to download the memories of Batman and Bruce Wayne all into that robot and they're fighting.
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
definitely. Right here.
I personally love those moments that really showcases Batman's humanity, like especially when he's stacked against other heroes and you can see like, because I know like a lot of the villains and the people of Gotham are like, wow, he's this great figure, but he's really at the heart of it just a regular person. Like he has to bite the bullet sometimes and take the wounds and like, especially when you weigh him against like Superman and people that have those invincibilities, when you see like Batman's vulnerabilities, I think it like really makes him
He takes his knocks in the series. That's
Yeah.
he does. I mean, that's what's cool because a lot of times we see versions of Batman where he's not touched. He's untouchable, but they do make it where you see Batman knocked around and you see the toll it takes on him, in the series, and that's what they did so well. And a lot of them just so well written. We'll work back towards the back.
Yep.
You go ahead. You.
Counter that. I love that as well. But my favorite episode by far is the one with the kids where they all have interpretations of what they saw.
Yeah.
Like one mentions him as like this shadow demon. And
Yeah.
It's like guy in a mech suit.
It's like the Legends of the Dark Knight. Yeah. Right here.
One of my favorites is Over the Edge.
Yes.
Really
Unanimously,
Yeah.
the nightmare sequence of Barbara.
sequence with like Harlan Gordon,
Oh, yeah.
Kill, and then like Commissioner Gordon is like on the hunt for Batman essentially. Even though like the ending's a little anticlimactic, it's still a great episode.
It's basically
My favorite.
Batman FML.
Yeah. All the way in back with your hand.
Yes.
What I loved most was not just the main villains, but also when they took the time to actually personify all the minor villains, like the episode with Baby Doll.
Yes.
More character development in 20 minutes than a lot of these movies give in a 3-hour feature.
Yeah.
And and just when it got to the end, when her life is crashing down, I'm there with her. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude.
And just go ahead, right here.
Batman.
Yeah.
No, it's actually called Batman.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The episode is called because there's a guy who turns into a bat.
That was your favorite one.
Dr. Einstein.
Yeah.
Man-Bat.
Man-Bat. Yeah.
Man-Bat.
Yeah.
Man-Bat.
That was your favorite episode. Right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I liked the man who killed the bat when you got to hear the Joker give his eulogy.
Yeah.
Every time you get to hear the Joker do a monologue, like
Yeah.
Definitely. Right, Ernet?
I forget what the episode was, but it's where Harley's trying to live a life of decent and like not being so bad all the time. And she's trying to buy a dress, but there's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And she's stealing it.
Yeah.
And then that kind of like puts her for a bit, and in the end, she still ends up back where she is. But in the end, like Batman gives her the dress that she wanted at the end.
Are you talking about Harley Quinn Aid?
No.
Harley's Holiday, isn't it?
Okay, the Harley's Holiday, okay, yeah.
Gosh, that ending with that Harley is the best Harley, right? She's got the blonde hair, she gives him a kiss on the cheek and says, guys like you shouldn't have bad days.
Yeah, no,
Right? Man,
yeah.
how perfect. Yeah.
How many people are so stoked about the Batman Harley Quinn movie? Yeah. I mean, it's basically. I'm gonna go back to one of my favorites is the Harley Quinn Aid. Is that's basically looking like it's keeping the same plot from there. Like they're trying to recruit her from to use her to help against Jason Woodrue, the Floronic Man, and Poison Ivy. So and it's very obviously got all the major players from Batman animated series. So I'm very stoked for that and can't wait for that series. And you know, if you got Bruce Timm involved, obviously that's like a fan's dream to have him back involved. Doing Batman and just like the series, just like everything about it iconic. And we were going to discuss the voices, the great voices that were used both in the regular cast and as supporting characters and recurring characters as well. So Dan, like we were talking about, obviously the best Batman,
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
His title's magnificent. Oh my God. Just, the guy is immense. Juilliard trained, and he went in there with blinders on and he came out the bat,
Interesting about that. They went through over 150 actors before they came across Kevin Conroy, and they turned them all down.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's probably good they waited, I think.
Everything weighed against, the iconic voice of Batman is Kevin Conroy, and I don't know how many times. Sometimes I know they've tried in different series just to have something different, but it's just like if Kevin Conroy's going to do it. You use him.
He's always going to be the progenitor of everything that's great about Batman in the animated series. I mean, Bruce Greenwood, he does a fair job under the Red Hood, Young Justice. But you're always going to think back to Conroy.
Yeah. And just looking at that too. I mean, but look at the Joker. You got Mark Hamill. Who would have thought Mark Hamill from the Star Wars universe could do the quintessential Joker too? And this is where he was born in there. And it's just so many great moments that Mark Hamill delivered in the series and as Joker, and so many great Joker moments as well. Involving a lot with Arlene Sorkin. Portrayed Harley Quinn and just gave us just the iconic villains we've had. I would have thought Richard Mull from Night Court doing Two-Face, which just was so good, and just a who's who. I mean, you had some of the, like we talked about, Adam West as a Grey Ghost. You had John Glover as Riddler.
And then,
do you guys remember who Clayface?
Junior
did Clayface? Yeah, Ron Perlman, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of neat.
So many. I mean, Diane Pershing was here, I think, at the con. Poison Ivy.
Neil McDonough is Nightwing.
That surprised me. I didn't know that he was the voice of Nightwing.
Yes, I mean, it was Lauren Lester also as well, he's being brought back as Nightwing along with Kevin Conroy, and I think they're using the girl from what was her name?
I don't know her name, but she's from Big Bang.
Yeah, from Big Bang Theory is that maybe yeah, exactly from Big Bang Theory. But you got to give it a chance. I mean, you see. I mean, obviously, we'll see how she does. But is there some like who would be? I mean, we're going to talk about with Colt, and Colt could take it away. It's one of the benchmarks of the series is the villains, and talking about just a host of villains.
Yeah.
Like, who's your favorite, Colt?
Favorite villain?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, from the animated series.
And the animated series.
Oh man, that's tough. How do you pick one? You know what I mean? Gosh, it is.
Who stood out then to you more than maybe other to you personally?
I mean, I really liked. Who'd said the episode with Ra's al Ghul? Who'd said that? Gosh, I've always been a really big Ra's fan, and I thought he was handled well in the animated series personally. But yeah, I always appreciated that, and just his interaction with Batman, right? Detective, right? All the time.
They showed
with that series and made him the detective that he should be.
Certainly. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What about you, Dan?
I would have to say, I mean, Mark Hamill's the Joker. He is always in the tops there, but
Yeah.
I'd have to say in one particular, in reference to one of the gentlemen in there about Over the Edge, the whole thing of Gordon bringing in Bane to be the final stroke against doing in Batman Forever.
Yeah.
That was where I would say, Bane has always been formidable, and he looks like he would be the last one to really take him out in a big showdown.
Yeah. No, that's good. Bane is a fascinating character because Bane is one of the few that goes to Gotham to find Batman. Right, and he says, "Hey, I've heard about this Batman guy. I'm going to go to Gotham and see what this guy's made of." Oh, okay. Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many to choose from. I mean, from the comics, Catwoman, of course. I loved on the fourth, season, the New Adventures and stuff. They had changed her look to a little bit more. I think more matching the Batman Returns look. But I always loved that character. I loved, just in characters in general. I loved his interactions with Zatanna. I just enjoyed them immensely, and they're just Julie Brown voicing. I thought she did a fantastic job as Zatanna, and I enjoyed the episodes, that Batman interacted. I think, some gentleman mentioned earlier, Heart of Ice just was a very emotional story because you could really feel for Mr. Freeze in that. You really felt the tragedy of it, and you could see why, what he was doing. His motives were clear. He believed he was in the right, and that's just what makes a great villain. I mean, when they, and you weigh that he believes what he's doing is for the for Nora, for his wife, and it was sad and tragic, and they captured that like a lot of the episodes, especially the one with Two-Face and stuff too. It's just tragedy, and for the villains, they captured that really well in the series.
Certainly.
What I like when it comes to episodes and characters is I really like both Robins in the series because there's episodes dedicated to them and their pasts. You got Robin's Reckoning for Dick Grayson, and then I don't remember the name of the episode, but season 4, episode 2 for Tim Drake.
Yeah.
Their past and how they're dealing with their emotions and how they're almost kind of getting onto that dark edge of what they might become, dealing with the villains who murdered both their parents.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you guys mentioned Under the Red Hood because you see both Robins and you see their fun side, you see what makes them good, and these awesome sidekicks, but they're also coming of age and they're dealing with these things at a young age, and so they're so angry and they have every right to be. And because they're almost becoming like the villains themselves, they kind of got that Jason Todd Robin thing going on where they just almost snap and they're not going to be able to handle it. And can Batman kind of bring them back? And again, season 4 gets so dark, even Batman is starting to lose it too. Again, with the whole, is he starting to make the villains too?
Yeah.
So even he's starting to lose his touch to be the father figure that he's supposed to be and help the kids, And
with that fourth one, and they didn't even know, if that was going to be a reality because a lot of these cartoons that we can't even imagine what they would cancel or you're not going to bring it back, because we're watching it like it's the greatest thing, it's like it's the greatest cartoon ever, and then they're not even getting green lit in time to know. So when they brought this back, they made a conscious effort to change some of the designs. Some of them work with some people, maybe not so much on others, but they were making a conscious effort to change it up a little bit in there, and I think it's some of that too. Some of those episodes, I know the farmers one, it was not maybe the people's choice, but they defended, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini defended that, and that's one of their favorites. So everybody has a favorite episode and moment, and like I said, it doesn't get any more intense for me personally than Over the Edge. Because it just shows you a worst case scenario, as Dan had said, because your life is Batman's life is unraveling here, and we're seeing Commissioner Gordon just revenge filled, and it's just so intense.
And everything is coming apart in front of him before his
and it's
very
just
eyes.
it's so intense. It's like a mini. To me, is like a it's the mini movie is so well done, and it's just I loved it. That's
wasn't it?
by far my
Scarecrow
favorite.
that gives her the fear gas, right?
Scarecrow.
Let's touch on Scarecrow a little bit and Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
Because both have fascinating origin stories, right? So let's Mr. Freeze, right? Synopsis, right? His wife is dying. He's trying to save her. The boss shuts down the money, right? And she's potentially dying. He's not doing anything necessarily bad, right? He's acting out of a need. Does that make sense? Yeah. So he has a need to keep his wife alive. So what does he have to do to meet that need? What does he do?
Just to kill.
Yeah,
Kill and steal.
absolutely. I have to kill, I have to steal, right, to keep my wife alive, right? So here's what we know from the psychological research. When somebody acts out of line or we see a major atrocity or a crime, it's usually somebody trying to figure out what need is trying to get met. They're in some situation in their life and they don't know what to do, so the only way to do it is go to some extreme means. Right? So when we look at good versus evil, we're really removing away from the evil side and saying, okay, there's something there that person needs. They're just going about it in an unhealthy way. Right? So Mr. Freeze is a perfect example of that. At the end of the day, his motive is love. Right? What about the Scarecrow? What is the Scarecrow? How does that fit with him?
Security.
Say more about that.
The dude disappears on that. I like Scarecrows, one of my favorite.
Mhm.
But there's childhood trauma that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I want to avoid fear. Right? Absolutely. And then that kind of gets twisted and turned and it goes down this dark road. Right? So here's the thing, what makes that animated series so good is that every good TV show, book, right, there's a good antagonist and there's a good protagonist. The depth that we can go with Batman villains is really, really deep. Right? They said in a 20-minute episode, you get such depth of Mr. Freeze. How wonderful. If we can understand that kind of background, gosh, that really brings a contrast between good and bad, right? Between Batman and this Mr. Freeze character. Do we sympathize with Mr. Freeze a little bit because of his wife? Or do we side with Batman because he's doing wicked things? It's really...
It's funny too, because like, you see, it affecting Freeze throughout the whole series. The more he fails, the more it drives him to be angry.
Mm-hmm.
But, especially in the second movie, Sub-Zero, he just like Scarecrow, he almost killed Robin Gordon too. And
Right.
again, you see Robin not too happy from that, and there's all that drama going on, and but
Right.
again, like you said, he's doing it for the sake of his wife, but it just comes off as this raw,
Right.
like everyone else is at fault. It's,
Mhm.
they didn't do their jobs, and it's hateful. And,
Yeah. These are people with problems and they're trying to solve them.
I mean, it's more like, it's part mad at the world and part feeding his need to keep his wife alive. I mean, he's just
Certainly.
like that. I mean, as opposed to other villains. I mean, the other villains are either an obsession, compulsion, or
Sure.
Something based in their own narcissism of themselves as a shield.
Right.
I mean, you look at one of the, and we tie these, we're also celebrating, the movies. I mean, how twisted and dark was the scene and just depraved in Return of the Joker, where they go back into Batman and see what did Joker do to Tim Drake, and the psychological trauma there to
And
Tim
he
Drake.
broke the back.
Yeah,
Yep.
and turning him into his own like Joker's version of Robin, and is that what Joker always wanted? And it's just like the flip of the coin between Batman and Joker is just it's like they didn't play around with a lot of these things, the adult themes of the series, the tragic villains. This is this is something that was like, it's said oftentimes
Well, it
like
was a tool for learning because later on in that episode, Batman knew, okay, Joker is playing from his narcissism. If you don't play into his narcissism, you're going to tick him off. He's going to be off his game, and that's when you take him down.
Yeah.
Right. And the trick there is, at least for us as fans, is okay, if I understand this guy has a difficult origin, does that give me enough empathy to say, okay, that makes sense why he's there today? Right? He didn't just come out that way. Something happened. All behavior has a function, right? So what led to that behavior? If we look back and say, okay, I can see in Joker's life this, and this. Granted, there's probably some pre-existing conditions with the Joker, I would agree. But, with others, you could see, like with Mr. Freeze or the Scarecrow. Or,
I mean, look at Clayface.
Sure.
Clayface is he's an actor. He was he had a horrible accent, and he's just he's disfigured now. It's like, what does he do? His whole world's turned upside down.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He's trying to find his place still, and he can't do what he loves anymore.
Yeah.
But on the same token, he has the powers to impersonate everybody, so he still can. But like, what does he do? He turns to a life of crime.
Yeah.
He tries to embrace the power
Yeah.
to suit his life.
Yeah. And that's a piece of his life. It's a beautiful. Like, I think in most episodes, there's like a beautiful opera. It's taking place.
Yeah,
it's
in
like
22 minutes.
Yeah, and you got obviously the theme sets the table, but each episode, they kept it dark. I think it was a little The costs on their end was, they saved a lot from that way, opposed to our last panel in X-Men, how expensive it was with the color palettes there in the animation. Right. They kept it there, and they concentrated on story.
Yeah.
They concentrated on developing these villains from episode to episode. So like Colt was saying, so you possibly have some empathy for them, or at least you can understand their motives. Yeah. And you look at, who a lot of the girls can empathize with, like an abusive boyfriend, because how abusive is that relationship with Joker and Harley Quinn? Mm-hmm. He's literally shoving her away into the wall and everything in some of these episodes, and she's still coming back to him. Yeah. And she can't help herself.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing about that is that all those weaknesses are the main points of what make the character, but they're also the Achilles heel to them.
Certainly. It's something that you could see in the change in Suicide Squad, in that movie, is they had at one point in time, they had the abusive relationship, and they chose to go with a more, caring, loving part of the relationship, and then you kind of lose maybe some of that aspect of from that was birthed in the show.
Yeah. I think this is a good segue. What are some of the adult themes that you guys remember emerging from the series for a kids show?
Well, I just love how the show isn't afraid to explore how there really isn't always a happy ending, and very rarely is there a happy ending. There's more often an ambiguous ending.
Yeah.
Like the most, like especially in Under the Red Hood, they're like right at the start, Robin dies in a massive explosion. Like, you can't save everyone. It doesn't always end the way you want it to.
Right.
And they weren't afraid to explore that.
Okay, good. Yeah.
The drug addiction. Dr. Kurt Langford Man-Bat and Winter the Wolf.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, drug addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for kids to watch.
In the boat, go ahead.
The pain.
The what?
All the injuries from fighting.
Yeah,
the
sure.
Hospital.
Yeah.
All this kind of stuff. The lingering pain and he fought Bane and basically broke his back, and then came back a couple weeks later to kick his butt, even when he had broken ribs and other stuff. It's not just instantly heal and then you're okay. It's
Sure.
the long recovery. That's one thing I love about the Batman show, is how serious the pain is and how serious circumstances are.
Good. Right here.
Families dealing with mental illness and the effect that it has on families. Some of the villains that were mentally ill, we got to see the impact. Not to mention the fact of people trying to recover, the difficulties of recovering.
Sure.
What happens when people abandon you when you're trying to recover, and how you all those types of things were covered in a lot of the Batman episodes.
Yeah, Two-Face wasn't always Two-Face.
Yeah.
He actually had an alternate personality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The ventriloquist as well.
Sure.
Along those points.
Yeah. Just a different outlet for it,
Yeah.
Along those points there, that's a good point, dealing with the onset of a debilitating injury, blind as a bat. Bruce lost his sight from that explosion.
Yeah.
And he had to use his, his company's resources and technology to build something that would allow him to segue some vision so he could fight the Penguin until he could take him down.
Yeah, very powerful.
So this, go ahead.
Drug addiction.
Yeah, the addiction piece.
Yeah.
There's plenty of death in the show on both sides, and it's clear and evident, And again, that's, with the whole Batman getting darker. It's not always instant, A lot of it's breaking down, like you said, biting the bullet. I mean, in what was the season 3? He got into a fight with an old student from his old dojo who turned evil. Even though he become as evil as he did, he still tried to save him anyway. And the guy just cut the rope that Batman had and was like, no, I'm just gonna die here.
Right.
Blah, blah. And even though he had it coming in a certain way, at the same time, you could tell it still affected Batman.
Yeah.
He didn't want that.
Right.
Trying to save him. Yeah.
Suicide. Joker.
It's just a fragile human aspect that everybody in the show had, from villains all the way up to Batman himself. There are times in the early series where even Batman needed Leslie Tompkins just to figure out what he was going to do, or even have her confront him and go, "You're being stupid. You're going to get yourself killed this way, and you're never going to accomplish your mission."
Yeah, good. So this kind of, I know there's a couple other hands.
He had his hand up for a while, right? Yeah. Right, and then you. Yeah. Yeah.
Mine was going to go along with that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Suggesting I am the knight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We had here. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the human aspect. There's this episode where Poison Ivy's creating these perfect women for all these millionaires or whatever, and Bruce Wayne finally falls in love and is deciding like he might quit being Batman because he's finally happy.
Yeah.
And it's just like heartbreaking that like when he finds out it's all just a ploy, like just the psychological aspect of Bruce Wayne, like basically like he's heartbroken.
Yeah.
And that's like, and as a kid, you watch that episode and you're like, what the hell's going on? But as an adult, you look at it and you're like, that's messed up.
Totally.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, in the back. Sorry.
I was particularly fond of Mask of Phantasm, both because of just humanizing Batman's background, but also when he realizes that the villain that he was going after was one of his own making.
Yeah.
And he realized that all of the reason that he's having to fight her now, that he's having to deal with all this, is entirely his fault, and how he has to now cope with that.
Okay. One more here on that.
Yeah, I like the fact of Alfred taking care of Batman as his son, but letting, you know, he still has to let him go into danger, and, you know, he's always there to help Batman get back up on his feet, and it's just, you know, so.
I'll segue into that too before Colt gets on the next point too. Is that the family side, on the Bat family side, there's a lot of is disturbances too. I mean, Batman is like the too strict father to the, you know, it's like he alienates Nightwing, and they show that more, you know, when you go later in the series, it's like, you know, why is Nightwing not always around? Well, you could see, you know, that Dick has got his problems with him, and he's telling that to Tim, and you know, and they explore that a little bit with, you know, of how difficult of a human being Batman is to be around, yet they still love him. He, you know, it's one of those things, is it's like you're trying to live with a family member who's troubled all the time, you know, and you know, Nightwing, you know, always had the lighter side from his lighter Robin, and he's always had to deal with this, you know, his father figure in Bruce that is just, you know, tortured soul. So it's a dysfunctional family in itself, and they explore that. I mean, Bruce Timm explores a lot of that, and you go into Killing Joke. They tried to create a little bit more with Batgirl and that type of stuff too. And it's just every single one of the Bat family members, you know, it's all stems from Batman. His relationships are, you know, are what they are because of who he is.
And it kind of begs the question: what's Batman's bringing teenagers into this scene, right? Ethically, how do we handle that? I mean, what do you guys think? He's bringing. You give an age to Robin, whatever, teenager. What do you guys think? How do you balance that ethically? And boyfriend too, I guess.
But I'd like to clarify what that man in the hat said about with the relationship also. In other aspects, the way Bruce was brought up with Alfred. I mean, you know, as he brought him up as a father figure, being as a father figure to him up until a certain point, and then there was a certain point where he just, with the 7 years gone, becoming, you know, who he was to become, you know, Bruce, he changed his tone in more indifference because you know, I'm going to help you do this. Not that I'm, you know, in my heart I'm condoning it, but I know you have a need to fill, a crusade to push, and he does it for him because he loves him, and not necessarily because he agrees.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's also that Alfred's evolved in so many different productions of Batman. You get one that says, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, but there's a line I will not cross in helping you. And so it was like Michael Caine's Batman in Dark Knight Rises. He finally said, this is it. I don't want you going back out there and getting yourself killed. Right. And if you're going to do that, I don't want any more part of it.
It's a good point. He's almost like an enabler in some way, where he's, you know, he's patching him up so he can do it again and punish himself again. And but he loves him, and it's like, you know, it's his, you know, his surrogate son now, and that's what shows you how dysfunctional the Bat family is. But they still love each other. So at the end of the day, you know, that bond is still there.
Didn't he sleep with Barbara Gordon in the new movie?
Maybe you're taking it a little bit literally, but
here's another interesting thing. Michael Goes Alfred, though, loves him and encourages his behavior. I mean, he does it with everyone. All the Robins, the that poor rendition of Barbara Gordon. I mean, being you know, the niece, but in Batman and Robin.
I think
You know, taking that character and making it,
the actor Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., I think he had passed away recently. He just did a sensational job as Alfred, and you could really feel the emotion from the
Yes.
character in there, and yeah.
But
I
he
just
had
always
that
loved
tone of
voice.
indifference in
Yeah.
that, in that whole plot.
Yeah.
Process, but I'm saying like Michael Gough, he would just, I mean, he saw what Chris O'Donnell was doing when he was taking care of the wash, and he says, we got another, young candidate for, his sidekick.
A little bit different, different interpretation, of Alfred. So what the series? How do you guys think the series holds up today? I mean, you guys, obviously we go back and rewatch these. I think it's almost timeless. It's set in such a unique era where you could go back and revisit these again. I mean, but if they're doing ones maybe like this Batman Harley Quinn, is there a character? Is there an arc or something you'd like to see Bruce Timm and his team handle again?
Nightfall and Long Halloween, I think, are important. Nightfall still has a finished story. I think you're going to see him break down mentally first.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, and Long Halloween, one of my favorite stories for sure. Yeah.
I'd like to see their version of Hush.
Hush, yeah. A lot of we had requests that I think in another panel yesterday. In the back.
Just the whole morality of the series, it was a lot more wholesome. It was something that kids and adults could watch, and it was they brought back the whole what Batman was about before he was killing people and that kind of thing. And he didn't use guns.
Yes. Yeah. Right here.
I love it when they explore Batman as a detective, and I think to see what Harley Quinn could add to that dynamic would be really neat.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new one. Yeah, I definitely want to see, an updated version. They got Nightwing with Batman as directly with him, and then, they're doing some stuff with Nightwing and Harley Quinn, which, it'd be interesting to see. It's a little playful stuff. So yeah, it's I just like seeing the team kind of reunite for something like modern and see, references and stuff they want to do with the new one. Go ahead.
My question is really like, if they were going to revise the show, I mean, if they could do everything the same way basically again and make it or keep going with it, would it last today? Because a lot of the shows I see that are on TV or on Netflix that are new, they appeal to more of a millennial kind of thinking, and I wonder and question if it would even survive today. I mean, yeah, you've got the true diehard fans who are like here right now.
Yeah.
But these people coming into their new era, they don't appreciate, in my opinion, they don't appreciate the art that goes behind it, and they look for something with just a quick, funny quirk. And I don't know if it would last today.
I mean, you would have to probably, be banking on the people coming back like ourselves to come back and do that. I mean, to truly appreciate it. I mean, you have to, if you having children and being able, I mean, obviously, like we were talking about, maybe not always the greatest to show to them, but if you're going to, as take your kids or nieces, nephews, wherever, and show them this as they get older enough to appreciate it and stuff, that's how you could probably build fans. And then just have them, see the appreciation for the story. The storytelling is so good on the series. It's almost hypnotic where you can't. You're glued to the screen. You want to see what's going to happen next. They draw you in, and that's the important thing from the series is you're invested, and that keeps you going for the rest of the series. So you sit back, you could sit down and watch a lot of episodes in a row, and it's a wild ride because the episodes are so intense.
I think we talked about it at the X-Men panel, between the Batman animated series and X-Men animated series. Those are two good series to get people introduced to the characters for X-Men and Batman. I think it's pretty safe. Yeah. Yeah, back your hand.
Yes.
One win. I like to have Bruce Timm and Kevin Conroy the rest of the game do Batman Rip. That emotional and psychological storytelling from Grant Morrison is just amazing.
He's gone through the ringer in that one, and mentally, it's pretty twisted.
Yeah, it is.
In the back, straight back.
Well, mostly I'd like to, if we're going to update it, I would like to see a few moral clashes where he has to judge whether it's more ethical to say, let this person get away, or if he just goes at all odds to capture him.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to see the show re-released in some way so that we don't have to pay $400 for it on eBay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
streaming
currently,
options.
Amazon Prime, I think, is streaming it currently. If anybody has that Prime Video, all 4 seasons.
You go ahead.
Was it
I'd
Batman
like to,
animated?
for any maybe direct-to-video or whatever shows, just anything in the future, I'd like to see more empathetic Batman, like in the Justice League cartoon with Ace.
Yeah. Yes.
Because I think we just haven't had a lack of that recently. We have, we have Batman beating up stuff, but we don't have a lot of Batman talking people down and it actually being successful, not a lot of real recovery or anything lately. And I think we kind of need that back into the public mindset, so to speak.
It's a good segue because I had written down to talk about is this series' influence on a generations, not just like another Batman series, but the expanded universe that this actually turned into, because Batman tied into the Superman series they did, Batman Beyond, which also would always tie, you had old Bruce Wayne in there, Superman, and obviously was said it's Justice League. I mean, what a powerful presence that they used him in Justice League Unlimited and all that, and it just tying back to what you said, Batman, you took Batman from this series, you placed him in, now he's got to play with others, and not so well sometimes.
And you get to see him in a legacy perspective on that in Justice League Unlimited. Watch the one episode, it's kind of like, feels like an arc, but it's called Revelation. It's where Terry McGinnis gets a meeting with Amanda Waller and talks about how much of a hero Bruce was all these years.
Yeah, it was an incredible episode. That's where they thought the series was ended, and they had to tell that wrap up to Batman Beyond, and they tried to tie everything together with Batman, and all that stuff, and how Amanda Waller was the one that took his DNA, and it was a powerful episode. I mean, everything with Justice League. I mean, and it took almost like you could see the awkwardness with Wonder Woman, the relationship, and that he's not fully embracing that because he's still the Batman from the Batman animated series. It's just now he has to work with the Justice League. Yeah. So it creates just the whole expanded universe that this spawned, the whole Tim universe. We owe to this series, celebrating the 25 years and beyond. This series is the benchmark for all the animated series that we have enjoyed over the past 25 years. Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually would kind of like it too if Green Lantern animated series could be rebooted to fit more aligned with the Batman, Justice League, Batman Beyond kind of universe, because the one that was on I loved a lot.
Yeah.
I love that kind of blocky Bruce Timm art style.
Yeah.
But it's so it's not really linked to anything else.
Yeah.
I'd love to see an episode maybe that crosses over and Batman was in it.
Didn't they try that with that I don't know, that short-lived Batman series? I think they were supposed to have like Mr. Pig in it and stuff. I thought, Beware the Batman. Yeah, I thought that wasn't that more a little closer and tied with that Green Lantern series you were talking about. In theme. I don't know if you've seen it, but animation-wise, I mean, it would be great.
Did you see the Larfleeze episode in the Green Lantern series?
Yeah.
That is such a great episode. Did anybody else see the Larfleeze episode in Green Lantern?
That's a great series.
It's an underrated series, I think.
It's great.
But I mean, tie it back like to what the measuring stick for all Batman series up to from Beyond. I mean, they had to completely try something different because this was so good. You took the Batman, Brave and the Bold, all the direct to video releases and everything. It weighs back like you can't touch this series. And the only thing you could do is hopefully honor it with the new movie and bring it back to where you can take the Tim art and try to bring it back to tell a different story with the same type of style.
Yeah. It's good.
Using this as the benchmark, there's just so many worlds of possibilities. Batman gets almost a release almost every other DC release is Batman related. So I mean, if you do one honoring the animated series, that's a treat for everyone. Yeah, go ahead.
How Bruce Wayne would tackle the politics.
That would be interesting. Would you want to see that really? You mean like punching Donald Trump or something?
Well, no, how
or Hillary, whatever, depends on what you believe.
Well, he's a detective. So how much corruption there is.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of ways they can look at it.
How great? Yeah, how great was that scene with Batman and Amanda Waller in Justice League?
Yeah.
Rich boy, she says to him, it's like, I'll shut you down. They're odds, that's straight out of Suicide Squad number 10, the John Ostrander series, head to head, nose to nose. She's the tough,
governmental,
she's the liaison. Batman's not scared. She's not scared of him, and Great.
how one aspect of the street come on where he's Batman, but then on the other he's Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
so now he has to be an actual person instead of just an avenger for someone who's been wrong.
Yeah, but Bruce has become the mask. Batman is basically what has evolved to him as a whole. That's how Kevin Conway was describing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce is the mask and Batman is the reality.
Yeah, but, you know, Bruce is his disguise. Yeah. You know, he's Batman, Bruce is the disguise. Go ahead, Ray.
That was discussed in the Batman Beyond episode.
Yeah.
When somebody tried to make him think he was crazy, and he's like, I don't call myself Bruce.
Yes, that
And
was awesome. I love
flat
that.
out there it was put out.
Yeah, and that's how he knew.
That was at the end of
Yeah, I remember
the Return of the Joker.
Yeah, when they're trying to hypnotically speak to him. Yeah, that was beautiful. I love that. That was anything memorable to you guys that you take away that you want to share. Just what this series means to you. How it's affected your life. Go ahead.
So I actually was able to meet with Diane yesterday and get an autograph.
Nice.
But it was really interesting, and I let her know because being somebody who's drawn to Harley Quinn because of her circumstances and similar circumstances in my own life, I didn't have an Ivy to my Harley. I didn't have that kind of support telling me I don't need to go back to this. I deserve better. I didn't have it in real life, so I would turn to the TV show and look to Diane as Ivy, and I relied on her to get me through my own struggles, and just how important that was to me and how much the show helped me, and she helped me personally with her strong will to go towards things. So I told her that, and I actually almost made her cry, but
Yeah, I
it
can
was
imagine.
like, this show did change my life for the better. It's crazy how little things can mean so much, but I owe so much just to the show.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
What did she say to you when you told her that?
She said she was blown away. She thanked me over and over and over, and she said this was my joy and this was my baby, and thank you for taking it and running with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah,
that.
definitely. Oh, you had your hand up in the back. Go ahead.
Yeah, besides the similar, my own personal tragic past.
Yeah.
This Batman animated series also made me become the criminal justice major I am today.
Yeah.
Change the way people look at fighting crime as a police officer.
That's awesome.
Hopefully change a lot of the policy that is getting the police in trouble.
Yeah.
With the public.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
It's powerful.
Go ahead.
Batman and the animated series and pieces of those shows was really my introduction into the comic book world. Like, that was the catalyst for like me going into the entire universe, and it was just it was where I started, and the characters with their depth really inspired me as a writer to go deeper with my own characters and just to explore first with fan fiction with Batman and to see what I could do with the plot and the characters, and then to go forward with my own characters and to see how far I could push them and what I could do with that.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Anything else to share, like just either moments or an episode that really touched you and moved you? Go ahead.
Well, there's one, and it's from it's one of my favorite Batman moments, and it's from Mask of the Phantasm. And I believe the love interest in the movie was Cassandra. I don't know if that's the name.
Cassandra.
It was Cassandra, but there's a part where he's at his parents' grave, and it's Bruce there, and he's crying. He's kind of asking them if he can be happy. He thinks he's falling in love with her, and there's that guilt, and that's the thing I've always loved so much about Batman is there's a guilt. Like, he almost feels partially responsible for his parents' death. And so there was that powerful moment where he's sitting there asking if he can be happy, asking if he can take back the promise he made to his father.
Yeah.
Sitting there, just kind of like, and that's a moment for me that I really, really, really love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, Cole could touch on it more. It's just the survivor's guilt. He's the only survivor of the Wayne family in that murder. That's weighs on him pretty heavy.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So two most powerful emotions we have as humans is pride and shame, right? So for Batman, do you think he's more motivated by pride or by shame? Shame. Why do you guys say shame? Yeah.
Because there's like kind of that sort of guilt that he had ever since when he was young, when his parents were killed, that There's
Mhm.
that great episode where he's dreaming about not saving Harvey Dent from becoming Two-Face.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent falls, and he's like, "Why didn't you save me?" And then like, as soon as he sees him fall, he also sees his parents down there, and his dad is like, "Why didn't you save us?" We're so good.
Right.
That huge guilt he has.
Okay, good. I like that. What do you think?
For all the things he can't fix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the reason why he is so closely involved with the Arkham Asylum and why he doesn't want to kill people. I mean, he is so bent on helping and fixing people. When that doesn't work, he sees it as a fault of himself.
Yeah, like something's wrong with me. I'm bad. What's wrong? Yeah, those things. Good.
I agree with, what everyone has said. Like, there's a lot of things in his life that, and his parents' murder means so much that he doesn't, he wished that he could have done something to fix that. And kind of going back to what you're saying about Robin, I actually think that it's like, that's why he takes them in, because he sees that they have a similar situation. And he's like, look, you're young and I want you to be ready because I've been through this and I wasn't ready, and now, this is what I've become. He's trying to save them from that darkness before they fall too deep.
Yeah, kind of that projection piece.
And it kind of draws into the same thing, is that he gets guilt from where he brings them in, and then they fall short, like losing Jason Todd.
Yeah.
That was the thing, losing Jason Todd first to his death, and then his resurfacing as the Red Hood, which he couldn't rehabilitate out of. He couldn't rehabilitate him out of that again. The near derangement of Tim Drake by the Joker in the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker sequence, that almost broke him.
Yeah, that he suffered because of him.
Yeah,
he took that on his shoulders. That
yes.
He was drugged and brainwashed, and that was his fault. Yeah,
Right.
He takes everything in the world on his shoulders.
Right, but Tim still had that resilience to break free at the last moment and do the right thing and stop the Joker.
Certainly.
Yeah, because there's that part of us, right? We all want to see the world become right? Sometimes your heart aches when you hear about things that happen, right? I don't think that's any different for Batman, right? That happens to him too, but he keeps failing. He tries to do good, but then there's failure, and then that shame just keeps coming back, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe the villains, a lot of them have the pride, which makes them vulnerable. And Batman, with his shame, he walks cautiously, and he's always alert, and it keeps him humble and watchful, and it helps him to have the edge over the villains.
Especially with the Joker, like I said, his narcissism is something that's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because he'll use that, and then he confronts a hero who has a weakness, he'll try to gobble him up.
Yeah. It's almost like he self-sabotages oftentimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they play with that in the end of Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
With when Terry starts laughing at the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
he realizes, you were so fixated on him because he wouldn't laugh at any of your jokes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because you're not that funny.
Yeah, you break the narcissism on him and he gets upset. But when he knows that he's good and he's everything that he can be against you, that's when he tries to break you there. But if you start to turn it around and Return of the Joker, he starts getting pissed off and he starts getting off his game, and that's when you take him down.
Yeah, isn't that true with every narcissist? You challenge them, what happens? They get defensive and pissed every time. It's exhausting.
Speaking of the narcissism or the villains, like one of my favorite ways that was used was in the episode with Two-Face where Batman managed to switch coins on him to give him one that always landed on edge. And now that he no longer had his decision maker, he was just in absolute chaos. He didn't know what to do with himself, and nearly ruined himself as a result, giving Batman more than enough time.
How great was that? He just, which one you threw that the whole, tray of coins, and he couldn't function. Did you have a question right down there?
I'm just gonna add to your theme about shame. Like even with his sidekicks, it's just a cyclical thing too. Because even after he failed with Dick Grayson, and he went to Tim Drake, and before that Jason Todd too. And even after all these years, and he's even telling himself like he can't take another sidekick, he still takes on Terry Phoenix too.
That's it.
He's trying to redeem himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a quick question
Sure.
for you guys. So I want your opinion. What do you think happened at the end of the Killing Joke? Did he kill Joker, or what do you think happened? I wanted to ask Kevin, but I didn't think he'd give me a solid answer.
I think it's in the movie itself, it's not as clear, because I thought in the series, I thought the natural, and it was supposed to be, Killing Joke was supposed to be non-canon, it was supposed to be out of continuity, alternate universe. I think he snapped his neck, personally. I felt like there was no other choice, because he went to him in prison, he said, how is this gonna end? Because I think that was a plea, like, please don't make me kill you, because there's only one way to end. He did, and that's not his code. But I felt in that story, and that's why Alan Moore wrote it the way he did, that story ended that way. But I mean, it made it ambiguous, but I felt like my interpretation is that,
Well, they didn't do it in the movie.
Yeah, they didn't do it as, you know.
In the last scene, he does reach out for the last time. But then that was the only time I have ever seen the Joker and Batman have a civilized or close to civilized conversation. Let me help you. And I feel like maybe it's possible that Joker was trying to sabotage himself. He realized he had gone too far. And he was just trying to go down the rabbit hole, so he figured, why not just go to the end? Because there's no way back up.
Well, a lot of times, I mean, even in recent days, I mean, one of the other one that just happened, sadly enough, today, is like they know they're going to get in a shootout and they want to die. And the sociopath knows that is the only way they want their life to end, and they go down that path, and and then obviously that's ripped from them if they don't, and they're not killed in
because they
tragedy.
realize they have no more control.
Yeah, and then that's what they want. And I think, much in that story, Joker does take it to places in a Batman universe that we had never seen before, dark places. There was only one way, I think, for that to end, but I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's how I felt like that ended for me when I read the story and watch it again, the movie.
But I think I have to agree with MC on that, much the same there, because I mean, it's always made a prevalent theme that he's gonna snap his neck. I mean, look at The Dark Knight Returns. I know it's Frank Miller, not Alan Moore, but it still revolves around that same thing of, I'm getting ready to, although in the animated one, he finishes the job himself on what Batman failed to do, on snapping his neck.
A few more inside, go ahead.
Well, yeah, with the Killing Joke too, though, you have like the aspect of Batman basically did kind of break, like in a sense, because he finally starts like laughing at the Joker's like joke at the end there, which was like.
It's a little disturbing, isn't it, to hear Kevin Conroy laughing with him? Yeah, yeah.
And you like see him like he's starting to crack up, like he cracks a smile, and that's when you see like the cut off, like his hands are on the Joker's neck, the shadows, and like everything with that, and also the Joker basically was kind of like he may have been giving up at that point because the one bad day thing he was trying to show, like it fell through, like in that aspect.
Yeah,
exactly distraught, but he said if I was to continue, I would continue.
Yeah, and like that's probably part of why he was able to have civilized conversations. He was like, all right, well that sucks, that didn't really work. I went through all this to do that.
He just knows he's not going to stop, and I think in that particular story, in that universe, that's was the only way to stop him. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to touch back on the guilt, kind of shame aspect.
Yeah.
Imagine an adult Bruce Wayne's guilt that he couldn't save his parents after realizing what he built himself to become, like this big, powerful man. And then as a child, he was just weak, but he had that in him the whole time. And I think that plays a part of his guilt too, also.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We'll wind down with the trivia. Colt's he's got a big time trivia from the series. I want to personally thank A Different Cloth. They've made the Comicasters shirts. We had ran out of them from the previous one, but he was gracious enough to donate a shirt, so we got one to raffle off here. And then we'll hopefully get some of these on there in social media, get some more shirts. We want to thank Brandon from A Different Cloth, cut from A Different Cloth on Instagram, and you can win a shirt right here with this trivia.
All right.
Take it away.
You guys watch for the first hand.
Okay.
Hands. All right. Which two characters in the Batman animated series are side by side on multiple occasions yet never speak? That was the first time for no hand.
I think we need to read the question.
You need to repeat it?
Well, you want to take a stab and back.
Okay. I think a good hint might be they're pretty main characters.
Go ahead.
Mr. Freeze and Harley Quinn.
Okay. No.
Did you say the question again?
Yeah. So which two characters in the Batman animated series are side by side on multiple occasions yet never speak?
Should add her up.
Robin and Alfred?
Oh, close.
Robin and Gordon?
Close.
Back.
Robin and Nightwing?
Oh, no. Right here.
Gordon and Alfred?
Good
There you
job.
go. Good job. Awesome. Come on up.
All right, everybody, thank you. Appreciate you coming out for the 25th anniversary.
Again, we want to
of Batman.
thank you all for joining us. We love the series. 25 years. Thank you. You okay if I take a picture?
Sure.
What do you have in it? Send it to him. I got a large. Large, okay? This is XL. It's up to you.
Do you have a medium?
No, it's just large or XL.
I'll go with a large.
Large. Hey, can you email that to me? Did you record the whole panel?
I hope I did.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Because on the
I
live
recorded
stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you
Email
don't
me,
always see
give
it.
me your email.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Then I can email you back. It's very easy to remember.
Take a picture of it. Yeah.
Yep. It's what's the point?
Let me get a mic here.
Cool. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Also, maybe can I also get a picture on my camera?
What's the point?
So you know, yeah.
911
911
at AOL.
at AOL.com.
I still have AOL.
Okay, that's all right. My brother and stuff too. I'm Comicasters at Gmail, so if you do upload it, you can email too. If you
Yeah,
don't
just
mind.
email me. I got it.
Okay.
Do you want the flash on or off?
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I gotta clean it up a little bit. I gotta get online and clean it up. I gotta get some software to clean it up. Do you know any software that cleans the audio up pretty decently?
Love about the show though too is
Cool edit?
even though he's becoming
Cool, like
Batman,
COOL?
still trying to live a normal life,
Okay.
still trying to keep that love. Not just for the kids too. I mean, how many women do you have throughout this series? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Andrea was the first, and that was one he thought he was going to marry, but you know he tries and tries again, especially with Talia more than
And
once.
like it will raise
You know,
the
and then
voice
that comes back in Batman Beyond. I was broken down as you know.
Yeah, because I have my buddy from the co-host from my other show has a recorder, and then I can't record with streaming it live for people, but and then it does YouTube's live stream where they save some of my shows, but not all.
I wish I would have. If you're really looking for a good one,
that's
right
a
now,
powerful message.
you got $100
Being able
to
to go
spend.
through all those things.
No, but
you're trying your damnest.
if I
It's
ever come across
$100.
it.
It's $100. Like this was $35.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which I have.
Yeah.
But it's hard. You know?
But if you have $100,
I appreciate your comments. They were good.
It's called. I think it's
Thanks for hanging out.
H1N1.
Yeah, no problem. You know, I love
H1N1?
I love how I
Yeah.
felt just like with X-Men.
Yeah, my buddy's got a pretty. He's got like a
It looks like
$75 one.
like we didn't
it's
see
like
Hush
this
in
big,
any
and
of
it
the,
kind of looks
you know,
like
anime,
it came from
but
Star
he
Trek.
was in
It kind of looks like it came from Star
comic,
Trek.
Oh,
and
If
then
that
he
makes any
turned to
sense.
Batman
at all.
Beyond
Okay.
comic.
Yeah.
And
And
kind
it's
of come back to
really
biting the
good
ass
from
with
what
happened
everyone
in
I've
previous
talked to.
comic
They
shows
said
were
it was really,
related.
I think it's
And
either
again,
an
they
H1.
kind of return, even though
It
it's
gotta
might
get a
be
picture, yeah.
H1.
and he's got to help Terry.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
could
a
see Bruce
really
breaking down.
good
He's
one.
like,
Yeah,
all right,
that's
you
something
want
I'll have to look that one up.
still
Yeah, because
not-
that's
It might be
Talking
H1.
to him is the thing.
You know.
Yeah, I'll look
You're
it up.
still
Yeah,
my heir, you're
we'll
still
take a look at
family.
it. Yeah, because
All
like
we
I'm
can do
trying
is
to do the
see
shows. We did
check out
podcasts
some
before,
time
and then we had a
ago.
producer
I
just
have
kind of
my-
put
Again,
it
he's
up.
broken
But
down because
My
he doesn't know
cell phone does a
if
pretty
he's
good job too.
yeah,
But it's kind of hard.
It's good stuff, man.
yeah, I know.
Sticking
Yeah,
your cell phone up there.
yeah.
It's got you
Yeah,
in
but
fields.
yeah,
Have a good
this
day.
is how you spell
See
it,
ya.
right? Just so I can get
Yeah,
you.
it sounds exactly like
What's
it
the
says.
point?
What's the
Yes,
point?
okay, all right. Yeah, no,
Like I
that's
said,
cool.
it's an easy one to remember.
Yeah, that's cool. And you're
You're like,
Ryan.
yeah, I'm Ryan.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Yeah, because I don't got confident. Once I shut it off, I'm probably gonna lose it. But I want to thank. Yeah, thanks, man. If you could get.
Oh, no
appreciate
problem.
it. Thank you for coming. Nice penguin outfit. Appreciate it. Thank you. Got to get a picture of this here.
Yeah, I got it.